It's a great afternoon, a great Sunday, and a great time to come your way once again with the Homeowner Show right here on Metro TV. I'm so glad to be here again to discuss things that pertain to home ownership, how best to finance your own home or try to get a roof over your head, and other matters related. Well, for the next 1 hour, I'm going to be here to steer you through affairs. We're going to be finding out what the topic is for this afternoon. But my name is Michael Katahena, and as always, I'm here to talk to you, talk to our guests, and then get your opinions and your questions, your contributions, and as much as possible, try to answer them here as much as we can. We're going to step out for a quick break. When we come back, we'll delve deeper into the matters at hand.
As we get older, we want to start achieving our goals, whether it is to pay for home improvements, fund a passionate side gig, expand your business, fund retirement, travel, or to help a family member onto the property ladder. Equity release is a way of releasing part of the value of your home without ever having to move out to help you accomplish those dreams. So how does equity release work? Equity release is available to all homeowners. The money is released from your home in the form of cash that you can do whatever you like with. How much you can release depends mainly on your age and the value of your property. You can release equity in your existing home today by mortgaging a portion of your home, which is the most popular form of equity release, where you take out a loan against your home and continue living there. Equity release is a big decision, but finding the right bank could open doors to the things you've always dreamed of, whatever they may be. If you are considering releasing equity from your home, give First National Bank a call. In your initial consultation, you'll have the opportunity to ask any question you may have, and your advisor will help you find the best solution fit for you. First National Bank has helped many Ghanaians get on the property ladder. If you missed out on Yoho 2021, then you must take advantage of Build Up 2022. Give us a call on 0242 435 050 and 0800 770 522, or head over to any of our branches across the country and talk to one of our friendly home loans consultants. First National Bank, Bank of the Changeables. First National Bank. How can we help you?
Welcome back from the break, and you're watching the Homeowner Show, which is proudly brought to you by the First National Bank Ghana. First National Bank, how can we help you? And supported by CBC Properties Limited, the home of your affordable and litigation-free lands and properties. Now, before we delve into the topic for today, First National Bank says I should ask you whether you're a homeowner who requires financial assistance to meet other pressing needs. First National Bank can help you unlock the value in your house by releasing equity in your property to finance your business, fund your child's education abroad, or any other need. Speak to First National Bank's experienced team of home loan consultants today to discover more help. You can call us on 0242 435 050 or 0800 770 522 to get started. First National Bank, how can we help you? Now, CBC Properties Limited says, why do you have to buy a piece of land now? Well, as Anthony Trollope quotes, and I quote, "Because land provides the highest returns, the greatest values, the least risk, and of course, it is the only thing that cannot fly away, now is the best time to own a land in Oyarifa, Pram, East Legon Hills, Adenta, Manfro, Shire Hills, Aimensa, and so on." Call CBC Properties to schedule for a free site visit on 0303-935-513 or 0262-898-686. Their website is www.cbcghanalimited.com. You can follow CBC Properties on social media at CBC Ghana Limited on Facebook and Twitter, and at CBC Ghana on IG, and at CBC Properties on YouTube. Majel Enterprise is the pioneer in innovative building and construction materials with over 20 years of experience in Ghana. We supply notable brands like ERA, George Fisher Hakan Plastics, Peace-Sen, Ferrat Plastic, EMS Force, Interplast, Bosch Power Tools, Leo Pumps, and many more. Majel is also the sole distributor of cast products in Ghana. You can call Majel Enterprise for all your hardware supplies on 0207-672-965 or 0540-573-421. And on social media, find them at Majel Enterprise. Locate Majel Enterprise at Spintex Ecobank at Dogono Road, opposite the Shell station. And Majel Enterprise, if it's not quality, it's not Majel. Well, so straight away we go into what we have for today. And with us in the studio today, we have Mr. Timothy Anyido, who is the Greater Accra Regional Lands Officer from the Lands Commission, and is going to help us unravel some of the questions that you have concerning the acquisition of land titles. So we are looking at the process of acquiring land titles in the country today, and Mr. Anyido, who is sitting just right across me this afternoon. We are glad to have you here this afternoon.
I'm glad to be here too. Good afternoon.
Fantastic. And to join us via Zoom is Mr. Chris Abose. He's the CEO of CBC Properties, and he'll be joining us a bit later on for us to help us discuss the matter we have at hand. Well, Mr. Abose, I believe, is joining us via Zoom at the moment, and if you can hear me and you can see me, Mr. Abose, you are welcome to the Homeowner Show.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me.
It's a great privilege to have you once again on the show, and we are glad to have you here. So we are looking at the process of land acquisition, the land title acquisition in the country for today, and I'm sure that you do your best to help us answer the questions here. So I'll just shoot the first question to our guest right here in the studio, and if you're joining us, I'm sure that you'll be making your notes, and if you have any questions, you can let fly at the points that we have for you to join us via phone or also through WhatsApp, and we'll be glad to send your questions across. Well, basically, I'm sure that everyone knows that it is part of the property acquisition process. If you want to put up a building, if you want to buy a land from any agent, this is one thing that you really have to look at. So maybe to start off our conversation for us this afternoon, how important is the land title?
Well, if you say land title, what you're talking about is a process through which you are registering your land that you've acquired. And rightly, your question was, how do you acquire land title? I'll say to vary it a little bit is how do you register? Because in Ghana, we have a dual system of registration. Land title registration is in Greater Accra, parts of Ashanti, and we have the deeds registration system, which takes part in all the other 14 regions of this country. The end result is that both of them are registration of your title, so that then you can go on to acquire your building permit, you can develop, and then you can secure your title. So it's very important for property development.
Without that, I mean, you can't show full proof of ownership,
yes,
isn't
so
it?
It has advantages. One, if you were to transact a business with INU on the land and I don't register it, it means that in public records, you will not be known. That gives leeway for the person who sold to you, may go ahead and offer it to somebody else who may check from public records, may not see your registered title there. I'm happy that one of your sponsors is a bank, and it's important that before they even lend a facility to you, they want to be sure that your title is secured. And how do they do that? They will do a search with the commission and be sure that you have registered the title before they extend facilities to you, because it's in their interest. If they don't do that, then how do they register the facility? Because you yourself will not have registered. So the advantages for registration are immense against non-registering and risking some litigation in the future or some other challenges.
Fantastic. Well, Mr. Bose, I'm sure that in your experience as a property, selling out properties and dealing with clients out there, you have had to go through this process 1,000,001 times. Probably want to add your voice to this conversation. How important is this process in owning a property like that?
So, Michael, like Timothy said, most important or the easiest part to sell your land is when you have land title. It makes it easy for the person who wants to deal with you to know that you are the bona fide owner of that property, and dealing with you wouldn't have any issues coming, beyond. And as a developer, it's easier to sell title land than the ones that we've not titled, because people who come to want to buy the land, we tell them, go and do your search at the Land Commission. And once they've seen your name as a company, it's much easier for them to want to deal with you. And I see ESQ with, Mike Timothy's name. So it means he's a lawyer, and all of this, there are legal, backings to all of this. And if you should add, if you go to court, if there's anything should happen and you go to court, and you are being asked a lot of questions as to how come you got the land, it's easier for the court to be lenient on you if you had done your checks, check if the land had title to the person that you were giving the money to. And I think the lawyer will help us there. Buyer beware. So if the buyer has that done, then the court will say, okay, we are making you or giving you that innocent purchaser or innocent buyer's card, so that we can be lenient on you. If not, you've almost lost your property, by virtue of not doing your land search, or even checking to make sure if the title holder was a person that you were dealing with.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for your initial thoughts on that. So having established how important it is to get the land title, I'm sure for those who are newbies in this process, you would want to take them through the step-by-step process of acquiring that.
I'm grateful Mr. Bose has experience, and he starts us off by saying a search.
Yeah.
And that's where I'll start it off from. More often than not, when people want to acquire property, they are hasty to show interest. If I say transact, part with money, get a deed before they want to approach the Lands Commission. And like Mr. Bose said, the search is critical. He used certain phrases such as the buyer beware, the court is lenient on those who are innocent purchasers of value without notice. So for you to show interest in a parcel of land, what do? As soon as you see the land, you like it, before you make any further steps, you ask for what we call the site plan. It's a small map that will show on which part of the earth that land is. Once that is ready, it's given to you, then you approach the Lands Commission. It has the monopoly for land registration in this country. It's a creature of the Constitution. We are in all 16 regions, and we are decentralized to every region. So assuming you are in Koforidua, you'll be going to the Eastern Region office. If you're in Greater Accra, you'll be coming to the office in Accra. So what you do is you do a search. That search is just for you to find out in public records if anybody has registered that land, or the person who is claiming the land is his, has his name in public records. That is critical in whether you are going to proceed or you are not going to, you are going to back out of the transaction. Unfortunately, most of the time, this search is rather done after the transaction is entered. The party has his, what we popularly call the indenture, the contract is sealed, money has parted ways, then he's coming to register. In registration, then he's told, wow, this land is maybe government land or it's not for Mr. A. Then the difficulties start. And I say every other thing we buy, we are patient enough to inquire about. If you want to buy a car, people go to DVLA, they check. If you go to market, if you want to buy a shirt, you turn the shirt a bit to be sure it fits you and all that. So that caution should be what we should be using when we come to land. The search is critical, and believe what the public records is telling you. More often than not, people do a search and later the person says, oh no, don't believe the records. His government has given me as a white paper, it's for Mr. X, Mr. B. please be wary. If you do the search, now the search is one formal way. The other one, we call the informal, is for you to, what we say, do the informal checks in the area in which the land is. You know, you go to the land, you see that there's some small gravel or there's some blocks on the land. That should begin to give you a certain sign, telltale signs that, wow, something must be happening here. And often than not, I say, always visit the land more than once. The first time may be with the landowner. When people are working with the landowner, people don't really tell you the facts as it were. But if you were to go back the second time, people may be honest enough to tell you whether there's something happening there, somebody has bought it before, somebody has tried to do some development before, whether there's potential litigation on the land. And that may not appear in the public records, but in the area and on the ground, you may have some information that may give you a sense of whether you want to continue with that transaction or not. So these two steps are very critical for everybody who wants to buy. The rest of it is, if everything checks out clearly, then you are going into the contractual stage where you are going to do a lease document or sublease, whatever contracts that you are going to, what we usually call the indenture. The parties will sign, you, the buyer, will sign, the grantor will also sign, and then you enter steps of registration with the Lands Commission. That's what I would say.
Mr. Abose, I'll be coming to you in a second just to ask you probably some of the problems you've encountered in acquiring the land title. But just before then, Mr. Aiyedouho, you mentioned something, if I got you right, that sometimes you do the informal checks, and probably sometimes in the process you may find out certain things that may not appear in the public sector. How come and how?
So the public records is limited to formally, whether you've registered it or not.
Okay.
What I say informal is where on the ground itself, you know, some families, so maybe the Abose family, let me borrow Mr. Abose's family, and the family head has passed.
Okay.
The family is split into, say, two families now. Those are things that you may find out on the ground. They will not be in public records. They may not be with Lands Commission, but somebody will tell you, no, there are two fashions. One fashion comes, one fashion goes. It will give you a certain sense. In some areas, there are chieftaincy disputes, and it's reflective on the ground, where one group comes today, the another group comes tomorrow. They are not settled in who the successor in title is. Sometimes somebody has bought it. He didn't register, and maybe he's out of town, and he left a caretaker on the land. The fact that he's not registered his title at all doesn't mean that he may not have an interest. Ultimately, he has to register it. But if your grantor sells to you and you come to register it, it may become a litigious land where now you have to now go to court and leave the court to determine who got it first, who is it for, and where is it for. And if you go to the courts, there are 12 courts, land courts in Accra alone.
Yeah.
And you can imagine the litigation that's there. And you don't want to, and I'm sure Mr. Abose will talk about it, the cost of litigation and injunctions and preventing from building all adds up to the cost of construction. And you don't want to get into land where there's potential litigation staring you right in the face. So I always say you go and people say, oh, build quickly. You know, if you build quickly, that should be a fair sense of sign that why would something be yours?
Yeah.
You are giving it to me and you are telling me to quickly develop. Then you must start sensing there are some reasons that may not appear in public records, but you can have a sixth sense of that, no, there's a challenge here, and you are advised to be wary.
Okay, all right, come back to you in a second. But Mr. Abose, I'm sure that in your line of business, you've encountered a lot of problems in acquiring the land title. In the first place, how long, on the average, does it take you to acquire a land title certificate?
So Mr. Timothy is the best person to answer.
I'll get back to him, but I just wanted to hear from you.
It doesn't have a clock to it, or what I say, doesn't have an average time to it. Depends on. So if you're going to get a land title, mostly depends on the area. Like you said, not all the regions in Greater Accra will do the land title. Some of them you have to just get your land stamped, valued, and everything. Then you will get your name showing at the registry, but you will not get a certificate with that seal on it. So the land title, it's the seal that will come as land title so and so, it's not there yet, you know, in certain regions. But for Greater Accra region, which most of the litigation, stems from here. Like you said, now there's a consolidated search that you have to get. The PVLMD search, the SMD search, and the land title search comes into one. And just to add to what he said, the one who has land title, the one who has the title to his name, is the final owner, or would I say the only owner of the land at that time. We've had issues where you do a search and the person's name is showing maybe at a PVLMD, it's showing at survey mapping, and then different person names comes up at the land title, and you are worried as to who you have to deal with. The one who has land title is the final owner, and until the Land Commission tells you, okay, there's a reason for us to withdraw his title, that is the only person you have to deal with. It's different if the person doesn't have land title yet. I'm talking about lands that are dealt in Greater Accra. If the person doesn't have land title yet, that's fine. But even that, then it's another challenge you have to, discuss as to why can't you finish your land title before handing it over to me? It goes back to the conversation of having a lawyer involved. If the lawyer thinks that the transaction can go on, that's fine. But to the question as to how long it takes, sometimes, if all things are equal, I know, Mr. Timothy will be hard on me, but between 1 to 3 months, you should be able to finish a land title process. If there are issues or there are challenges or boundaries, that is when you go beyond that 3 months, charge. I have done title that took me about a month or two because all the things that you're asking for, I had it. And the process was easy to go through. It's different when you have different people claiming that same land. That becomes a challenge, and I think that's a copy of a land title certificate you have on your. So this, like he mentioned earlier, you can only get this in certain regions or certain domains, like Greater Accra region, part of Kumasi, and I think part of Central region as well. But for other regions, you will get everything plotted, but then you will not get the certificate, which doesn't mean that the land is bad. It means that they have gone through from phase 1 to the last point, but their land title certificate process has not been kicked in yet. But for Greater Accra, which is, like I said, the most prone areas for land litigation, if you have land title, it makes a lot of the litigations, come down.
Apart from some of these things you've enumerated, which probably contribute to the time it takes you to get the land title certificate, for you as somebody in the business, are there any other major problems that you encounter in having your land title the land title registration process or getting your land title certificate that you'd probably want to share with us?
I would commend the Land Commission and the government of Ghana for digitizing, the process. So now I can sit here in the UK and do a search in Ghana by making sure I have my site plan, and the coordinates correct. I just put that information into the CSA unit, and they can give me the search results in a number of days. These are things that we are praying that goes beyond, just a year or two, but in the next couple of years, it goes all to all the other regions. I will say, again, if all your things are perfect, let me not use the word perfect because in land, nothing becomes perfect. But if you have all the details that the Land Commission is looking for, then you shouldn't have a problem getting your land title. And I'm saying that if you have done your searches and the person that you're dealing with is the particular owner of the land, then I don't think that the Land Commission will have any issues to sit on your process. My only problem is that people go through other sources to get your Land Commission, and sometimes that will rather elongate the process. If you have a trusted, lawyer or a company that is into land title registration, then you can go to them. If not, we call them Goro boys, and I know Mr. Timothy they've tried a lot to take away the Goro boys, in between that process. So you don't go and meet somebody at the Land Commission, under the tree there and say, oh, what do you want to do? And you give them money, and then in the next couple of months you can't hear from them, and you are shouting that Land Commission is in a mess. No, if you are going to deal with the Land Commission assigned unit, which I know is the CSA AU, which you will talk about, they are the only place or only office you have to deal with the Land Commission. And some of these things, if we are able to educate the public, it should bring down all this litigation that we're having in the process. But like I said, if your documentation is right and the person you're dealing with has given you the valid documents that you need, and also the barcode system now has kicked in Greater Accra region and Ashanti and spend parts of Ghana. If you have your barcode also done, it makes the period even more shorter, because I think barcode takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get done. So if you already have a barcode system or barcode site plan, it actually cuts down, the period. But don't forget that the Land Commission has the right to put your name in the public domain for 21 days. So if you take that 21 days of, I think now we have the expedited option of 14 days. If you take all those things that the Land Commission have to go through to make sure they give you a definite title, like I said, between a month or two, you should be able to get your land title, with no hassles.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. Coming back to you, Timothy, we want to talk about the time, the period it takes you to get your land title certificate. Ideally, let's talk about the ideal situation. How long would it take you to really get it done?
So this is the first time I've been on a program where somebody has agreed with the time I was going to say. Okay. Like Chris said, he said he'd done some in 3 weeks or in a month. That may have to do with transfers where the previous owner has a title already and you are transferring to another person. That is often quicker than when you are what we call the first registration. Okay. Because as he explained, in the first registration, there are statutory periods that you have to wait out. So you are doing the title certificates. You get to a stage that we call the publication stage. At that moment, we work with the dailies, the newspapers. So you have to send a list to them. They'll publish it. Generally, it has to wait out 14 days. We wait sometimes 14 working days, which may take us to 21 days, but by law it's 14 days. So that would give us the opportunity to wait if other people have something to say against your registration. So no matter how quickly Lands Commission wants to do it, it has to wait out the period waited for by law. So the government's aim was to put us to 1 month. That we are working towards, but we are not there yet. So 3 months for a first registration may seem fair, but he kept emphasizing on something that I also want to pick on. If all your documents are done right, because the law now says if within 90 days or 3 months of the submission of your title, that's Act 1036, Section 103 particularly, if you submit it and everything meets the criteria, Lands Commission should be deemed to have registered your document within 90 days or 3 months. Now, the emphasis is on if it meets all the requirements. And he pointed out, you have some legal advice, somebody who is doing it for you. So you involve the right professionals at every stage. He talked about the site plan. This is done by surveyors licensed by the commission, who we call licensed surveyors, who will do that for you. So if you deal with the right professionals and you submit a document from the search stage that shows that the person has a title, then we are talking about the ideal. Then we may move out of the ideal, which involves communication between you and Lands Commission. For instance, you are doing the process and we found out that you omitted something, a witness, or you made some mistake in the documentation. We need to communicate with you. We take a number, we take your email. Now we would write to your post box, which we used to do in the past. We even try sometimes to call. Assuming you use a third party, and that third party used his details for the reference. So we call that third party. He never comes, shows up. So nobody can come and pick and do the corrections that we require. So you'll be sitting at home complaining. I've met people who have come to the office very livid. My document has been here for 6 years, and you find out that a letter was written 5 years ago to a post address that never existed, or he just gave the document to somebody and just said, write any address. So the process is give us the right information so we can get to you, and also use our customer service and access units. We have phone numbers. People complain. We didn't used to be as customer friendly as we are now, because it's a government agency which is seeking to improve and respond to the public at every stage in time. So you can see the feedback from Chris's speaking that he's dealt with us in recent times We now do a consolidated search in Accra, which seeks to consolidate all the information. First, we used to do 3 different searches. The information could be a bit scattered. So we are moving in a process where we can finally get to a stage, as he said, where we are digitizing everything countrywide. We are able to produce results for you more quicker. But from 1 to 3 months will be the ideal if there are no challenges. Once challenges start coming in, then it throws the time period out of the.
I'll come back to you and then ask you from your side whether there are other challenges that you face in this particular process. But I believe that on the issue of post boxes, which probably can be problematic, I'm sure probably you switch from that to emails.
So emails now, we do phone calls, we do text messages.
Fantastic.
And other forms of communication other than the post box, which was the main means of communication back in the day.
All right. We're going to go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with this conversation with Mr. Timothy Anyidoho and Mr. Chris Ni Abose. You're watching the Homeowner Show right here on Metro TV. We'll be right back.
As we get older, we want to start achieving our goals, whether it is to pay for home improvements, fund a passionate side gig, expand your business, fund retirement, travel, or to help a family member onto the property ladder. Equity release is a way of releasing part of the value of your home without ever having to move out to help you accomplish those dreams. So how does equity release work? Equity release is available to all homeowners. The money is released from your home in the form of cash that you can do whatever you like with. How much you can release depends mainly on your age and the value of your property. You can release equity in your existing home today by mortgaging a portion of your home, which is the most popular form of equity release, where you take out a loan against your home and continue living there. Equity release is a big decision, but finding the right bank could open doors to the things you've always dreamed of, whatever they may be. If you are considering releasing equity from your home, give First National Bank a call. In your initial consultation, you'll have the opportunity to ask any question you may have, and your advisor will help you find the best solution fit for you. First National Bank has helped many Ghanaians get on the property ladder. If you missed out on Yoho 2021, then you must take advantage of Build Up 2022. Give us a call on 0242 435 050 and 0800 770 522, or head over to any of our branches across the country and talk to one of our friendly home loans consultants. First National Bank, Bank of the Changeables. First National Bank. How can we help you?
Welcome back from the break. You're watching the Homeowners Show, proudly brought to you by First National Bank Ghana. First National Bank, how can we help you? And supported by CBC Properties Limited, the home of your affordable and litigation-free lands and properties. Magil Enterprise, if it's not quality, it's not Magil. Great shirts reserved for men with integrity is by Sub-Saharan Fashion. Business and Financial Times, Ghana's most authoritative business news source, and Construction TV Online, all the news from the building and construction industry. Now, if you want to wear a shirt like I am wearing, then you've got to get to Sub-Saharan Fashion and talk about the Sub-Saharan Fashion brand. Great shirts are worn by great men with integrity. That's the philosophy behind Sub-Saharan Fashion brand. At Sub-Saharan Fashion, our choice of fabric is inspired by our culture and heritage. The temperament of our clients contribute to the choice of fabric and colors to use. At the end, we create an art piece which is custom made for one person only. If you want to patronize the brand reserved for men with integrity, you can call or WhatsApp Sami on 0264017512 for your orders, and find them on social media at Sub-Saharan Fashion, and you can get all that you want regarding beautiful shirts that you want to wear. So we continue with our conversation this afternoon on the process of acquiring your land title certificate, and doing that with us this afternoon has been two gentlemen, Timothy Ayindaho, Mr. Timothy Ayindaho, the Greater Accra Regional Lands Officer from the Lands Commission, and Mr. Chris Ni Abose, the CEO of CBC Properties. Now, before I come back to you, Timothy, let me just ask Mr. Abose, who has been with us throughout the conversation via Zoom. If I want to come and buy a piece of land from you, who does the application for the land title certificate? Is it the property owner, or it is me, the prospective buyer? Okay, I think we're having a few challenges here with Mr. Niabo, so we'll try and get back to him on that particular issue. But coming back to the issue of challenges and problems, I'm sure that it's not only the buyer or the prospective buyer, or let's say the agent, who has problems when it comes to this process. But I'm sure that from your side, officially, what are some of the challenges that you encounter?
Well, there are a few things. One, stools, for instance. Who is the stool occupant at any particular time? Once there is some form of litigation, it all goes to the root of land. Once there's a challenge with who the stool occupant is, who is the one who must grant, so also does it go to families, for instance, who also own property in some parts of this region. Sometimes it's individuals themselves and who have acquired the land, they themselves have not registered and are going on to give to third parties, meaning that we have to ensure that the records are clean up to speed. Court judgments and court litigations are some in the middle of a registration. You could get an order, there's an injunction on it, there's something here, and it's the dual system of land ownership we have. In the French-speaking countries, land is nationalized, owned by the state, so it's simpler. In Ghana, we didn't go that way. Government owns land, families own land, stools own land, individuals own land. So that's what makes a level of complexity in the way in which our land administration is in this country. Also, for instance, surveying has improved a great deal since the days of using what we call chain surveys, where one person will stand at the end. Now it has become more accurate, where they have more better instruments and tools. So you can be the same parcel, the same part of the earth, but a more accurate survey would mean that on our sheets there will be some shifts to the left or to the right, and therefore it might now start affecting other interests. That's why government is looking strongly at a public-private partnership where it can have the base of the survey of this country resurveyed, and therefore it will help us be able to rearrange or look at our records in a more practical way.
Honestly, how I wish that our system could be restructured to be like that of the French-speaking countries, to really cut out a lot of these problems. But it looks like that is never going to happen.
It's long gone.
There's no way we can get that redone.
It's long gone. We can do the best that we can in our current system. For instance, government in 2020 passed a new Act 1036, which now mandates all the traditional areas to have what we call the customary land secretariats. So it's like mini land commissions owned by the traditional areas. That's a huge step. If we get all the traditional areas owning that, that means they now have records of what they are granting. So it will be easier for them to be able to keep a record of grants made by a previous family head or stool occupant, so that these double grants that sometimes they do inadvertently would all cease. It also helps them also have some form of formal interaction with the Lands Commission based on the transactions that they do. So we believe that as the implementation goes ahead, we'll get to a stage where it will be easy for us to
Fantastic. All right. We'll come back to you in a second, but let me go back to Mr. Abosey on the line. And my question I asked earlier was that if the prospective landowner, property owner, is beginning this process, if I'm buying this property from you, whose responsibility is it? Is it me, the prospective property or landowner, or let's say CBC Properties, who has to do the needful in applying for the land title certificate? Who has to do that? Whose responsibility is it?
Right. So, Michael, what we do at CBC is very simple. We try to get land title on most of our lands before we offload. And like I said, it's much easier when you're offloading title lands than any other lands, because then you already have something to prove your ownership. Also, it's our job to make sure that what we are giving you is a clean title. And so if you do your searches, you are supposed to get our names in all the departments, or showing our names are showing at all the levels of the registration process. Now, just to add to your question, when people buy from us, when you buy a title land, it doesn't mean that's the end of it. It's like Timothy said, when you buy a car from someone, it's your job as the person who bought the car to go to the registration, body like DVLA, and go and change the car's name, the name of the old owner, into your own name now. So even though you are buying a title land, it doesn't mean that ends there. When you've bought the title land, you have to retitle it into your name. That's the biggest challenge that I think the public always, leave, on the table. Buying a title land doesn't end there. You have to change the ownership into your name. And like you said, sometimes if you're even traveling, a land title, certificate in your name, and it gives us people the sense that you have something that links you back to your home country. It makes it very simple. If you're going for a loan, for example, and a person wants to, the loan company wants to get a collateral, you have a land title, in your name. It gives them that confidence that, okay, there's something in his name that, for example, for instance, if we lose our investment, we can go and then get it back, as that. Now, getting to understand or know the price of a certificate, we've made this, 5 steps for people to ask themselves. Where is the land? Is the land in Accra? Is it in Kumasi? You have to know where the land is. Number 2, how many plots are you doing a change of title to, or you want to do title on? Would also show how much you have to spend. Now, the type of ownership, which people don't know, if you are doing a first registration, it is a different cost when you are doing a re-registration. So all of that also comes in. Like I mentioned already, the barcodes, also will show if you are supposed to be charged an extra money for the barcode or not. Then the last part is also having run your searches and being in tandem, or being on the same level of documentation as you are holding. I've had people come to us to want to do land title, and they've given us a search result, and the search doesn't have anything to do with the person who has given them the land as the indenture. So I'm asking them, how do you want the land commission to title this in your name, when even in their documents, the person, or in their database, the person who has given a document doesn't have any right to do so? So that is the challenge that we've been having, in this process. But like Timothy said, it's a journey, and I'm hopeful that in a couple of years to come, things will be much more easier along the line.
All right, thank you very much there. And before we continue our conversation, we have a short video, a kind of a testimonial really, that we want to show out there before we continue with this, and probably even link to what Mr. Abosey just said. So let's just have a look at this very short clip, and then we continue with our conversation.
Christian is a hard-working, focused young man who will go all lengths to achieve results. We have worked with him for some time now, and we will recommend him to anyone who wants to buy a land. If you want your valuations done on your land, he's the best man. If you need land title documents done for your company, I would recommend him to be the right person to do so. In the near future, if I want to buy a land again, I will go for Christian, and I recommend you to do same.
It's clear, and this shows that there are professionals in this process of trying to get your property, and so you'd have to deal with the right professionals in this particular process. Back to you, Timothy. How much really does it cost to get this whole process out of the way, the land title certificate? How much does one have to pay?
So the cost is broken down in a few elements. You do a search. As he indicated, the size of the land would influence how much you pay for the search. If you're paying for search, it ranges from 55 Ghana cedis to 155 if it's under an acre. And if it's over an acre, there are extra fees that you pay for it. So that's for the search. Assuming you finish the search, the transaction, which is the preparation of the indenture or the contract, the lease document, will be left to between lawyers and yourself. Those fees are not charged by the commission. It's a private transaction and you'll be charging it yourself, but it comes at a cost with fees set out by the Ghana Bar Association. Then you come to Lands Commission. He's mentioned a lot about the site plan, the barcoded site plan, which is also charged in terms of size. We may begin from say 1,500, 1,200, ranging all the way because of distance, because of the size of the land, because of the shape of the land. So then you come to what we call the stamp duty, which ranges from nominal fees to also 1% of the value of the property, depending on the nature of the instrument that you are given. Then you come to the registration proper too, which also may begin from say 1,000 to 1,005. If you are in Greater Accra, in other regions, it may be lesser to begin the process of plotting, and then that's what I can say in terms of.
Okay, I'll come back to you and let you know why I asked you that question. Now the messages have started coming in, and this is from a viewer who sent in a message. So you can continue sending your messages. I believe that 055-300-0035 is the number. You can send your questions and we'll try and answer them in the very limited time that we have as much as possible. Now I asked this question before because a viewer has just sent this in and says, good evening. Well, I went to Sunyani Lands Commission to get a land title for my building plot size of 100 by 100. Hey, I didn't know that we still do 100 by 100. Located in Nswatre in the Sunyani West Assembly. Now, this is the breakdown of the bill I was given. Presentation, 30 cedis, processing, 80 cedis, plotting, 100 cedis, lease preparation, 500 cedis, registration, 120 cedis, inspection, 60 cedis, oath, 50 cedis, administrative charge 4,200, stamp duty 300 cedis, and rents 100 cedis. So the total, it came to 5,540. So he's asking, don't you think this bill is a bit big or huge and probably maybe prevents people from registering their lands? Well, at least for that last part of your question, that shouldn't deter you from doing the right thing.
Yes.
But let's find out if this is really correct. But
he said a bill.
Yes.
And I'll be interested to know the source of the bill, whether if he's talking about Lands Commission, give him a bill.
Yes, Lands Commission.
He's talking from Sunyani.
Yes.
And we have to understand that in Sunyani, first, you won't get a land title certificate. It's under the deeds registration system.
Okay.
And the bill, if you look at the breakdown of the bill, in Sunyani, we have what we call vested land, which is a nature of land where the state manages on behalf of the stool. So you see the administrative cost and all that. That seems to be taking care of the preparation of what we call the indenture. If you were in Accra, it was a private transaction. Okay. That cost will be out of the Lands Commission's budget. So take the 4,000 out of the bill that you are seeing there. And you are down to, so it's because of the nature of land in that area. And then that's why the bill is what it is. If you was in Accra, for instance, and it was a private or in the same Sunyani, and it was land out of the ambit of government's management, then you take that cost out of it, and it won't be as much as he says it is. So it's the nature of the ownership and the type of land you are dealing with, because government is then preparing what we call the indenture for you, and that's what is affecting the size, the costs.
Would I face a similar problem, or would I face the same thing?
In Eastern region,
yes,
in Koforidua, for instance, in the Koforidua central part, where there is vested land, you may find a similar charge.
Okay.
But you may go to other places in the same Eastern region or in the same Bron region, where you will not have to face that cost, because that cost is removed out of the government ambit and is privately done. So a lawyer may charge somebody more than that because of the scale of fees and because of the size of land. And that will not be Lands Commission's problem. It's just the nature in which land transactions.
All right. Okay. So, Mr. Abose, let me come back to you. We have just a few minutes to wrap up our conversation. This might probably be your last question, but let me just find out from your CBC Properties. I mean, tell us, amongst all the other things that you've listed, tell me, in other ways, which other ways do you assist your clients in all these, I mean, these processes that we've discussed so far?
Mostly when they buy from us, we give them options to either title with us or not to. We don't force them to do the land title because that would be, against our mode of operation. The idea is that before we try to sell to you, we've already done our checks, our backgrounds, and we have a land title, and we are uploading that to you. It is our job to help you do it, same land title, if you want to do it. And because of people like Timothy and the top guys in the Land Commission, we're able to go through, because we have gone through, we know somewhere all these have to go. So maybe it becomes easier for us to redo it, but we don't force the clients to do that. To add, we do land title as a side business. So we don't do it only for people who have bought from us. We do it for companies like Toyota. You just my head became big when you were playing the video. We've done that's one of the biggest plus for us. We do for companies, we do for individuals, we do for families. And as you've asked, I'm just putting it out there. Families have challenges, investing money into doing their land titles. We go in and help them, and like Timothy said, that's our private discussion we have with them. Either we take some part in land or in cash or whichever. But I just want to say that to end that land title is very critical for us as a nation. I know that the last night I listened to the Land Commission, boss himself. He says less than 10% of lands are registered in Ghana, and so we need to work to make sure that the 90% of that is done, so that the litigation, cuts down. And I hope that there'll be a point where the government comes in and say, listen, everybody come in and let's do your title for you. And when we are in a process of the administration, then we'll charge you service fees for the title that the government has done for you. And I hope that Land Commission will look at this option, or look at this suggestion and help bring down the litigation. Because trust me, investments or people who are coming to bring money into Ghana, they will not build in the skies. They will not build on water, even though Dubai and the rest, people are able to build on sea. But you have to be a big challenge, moving forward.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. Well, we've virtually run out of time here. We have just about a minute or less than a minute to go. But I just want to find out from you, Timothy, what your final words may be, probably to the prospective buyer out there and general public.
First of all, to thank you for the opportunity again to interact, to just advise the general public that the search is very critical, to encourage people to seek the registration process and do it now. Don't wait till there's pressure on you, then you may be forced to be paying fees you shouldn't. Do it now. Once you own, you buy the land, make sure you do the registration. And Lands Commission is open for ideas such as he has said. And in December, Lands Commission is looking to a big land conference where ideas will be traded because of the importance of land to this country and every form of investment. And we are hoping out of that, good advice will be taken to look at a big way of improving the land administration system in this country.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to that conference, and if possible, you can send me a personal invitation. I would love to be there. I have a lot of interest in that area. Well, thank you very much, Timothy, and thank you very much, Mr. Chris Nia Abose. I've been speaking to these gentlemen who have been helping us go through the processes of acquiring the land title certificate, which is so important in acquiring land in Ghana. Mr. Chris Nia Abose is the CEO of CBC Properties, And Mr. Timothy Anyidoho is the Greater Accra Regional Lands Officer from the Lands Commission. And he's been with me here in the studio. Mr. Abose joined us via Zoom for this conversation. Thank you very much, Mr. Anyidoho. And thank you very much, Chris, for taking time to join us in this conversation. And we've loved every bit of it and for all your contributions. We're very sorry that we're not able to read out all your questions and contributions because we've run out of time here. Time really flies fast. But we hope that you join us again next time. Same time next Sunday for another discussion right here on the Home Owner Show, which has been brought to you proudly by First National Bank Ghana. First National Bank, how can we help you? And supported by CBC Properties Limited, the home of your affordable and litigation-free lands and properties. Until then, bye from me.